Welcome to the Teach Me Bees podcast. I'm Dave Wescott, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Scott the Beekeeper.
Hey,
good morning,
welcome
Scott.
Welcome in. Glad to be here.
How does it feel to be an Oregon Ducks fan?
Feels pretty good right now.
Okay, good. Just wait till Saturday.
Well, we play Friday night.
That's because you're going to be recovering from the hangover on Saturday from the depression of the loss.
For anyone out there listening, go Ducks. We are recording this right before Thanksgiving, and so this is coming out on Thanksgiving.
This is the Thanksgiving special right here. Happy Thanksgiving. That's what we want to tell you. Happy Thanksgiving. And I have a feeling that the Oregon Ducks are going to get pollinated.
I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know if that's good or bad either. It just sounded cool.
Okay, thanks.
It just sounded cool. You're getting pollinated. So I hope that they bloom like a flower.
Thank you so much.
Who are the Oregon Sucks playing this weekend?
We're playing the Beavers.
The Beavers?
Beavers are a quality team.
The Beavers are a quality team. They almost came back and beat our Huskies.
Beat the Huskies.
But you know what? It is a monster rivalry.
It is.
Oregon.
It's rivalry week. You know.
Are you going to the game?
No. Mm-mm.
No, you couldn't convince the wife to buy you tickets.
I'm hosting my mom and brother for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Be tough to turn around and drive back down to Oregon for the game. So,
are they Oregon Ducks fans?
Oh yeah, we got green and yellow in our blood.
Green and yellow in the blood. That almost sounds like a rap song.
Maybe I'll make it for you one day.
All right, he's going to write a rap song. Pollination. We're talking about pollination today.
That's right.
Because it's Thanksgiving, and this is such an exciting topic because roughly 75 to 80% of our food actually comes from pollination.
Yeah. From the data I've looked at, I believe about 75% of all crops require pollination. Like the kind of crop requires pollination, and about 35% of all of the crop that's produced is reliant on pollination. So, like a big one of those that doesn't need pollination is like cereal. Like that's a really big produced crop, I guess, but that doesn't require pollination. But a lot of stuff does. A lot of stuff we eat, and a lot of stuff that has nutritional value for us. Like if we want to be healthy-ish people, like the things we enjoy eating it comes back to pollination, and that comes back to the bees.
You know, the things that scare me are
spiders.
Nope, I'm not afraid of spiders.
Okay.
Chicken from KFC.
Interesting. Because
it's headless. You know, they have headless chickens walking around. And the man-made meat from Bill Gates.
I've heard of that. I don't want to try it.
These things both freak me out.
Hold on, when you say man-made, men are making it or men are a part of the meat?
I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that men are not a part of the meat.
Okay.
But
you don't know for sure.
If we are doing the cannibal thing.
Unknowingly? Whew, no thank you.
Have you ever seen that movie with Denzel Washington where he's blind and he has a sword and a gun?
Book of Eli? Yeah, that's a
Book of Eli.
That's an intense movie.
That is an intense. Are you allowed to watch rated R movies?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, thank you. For about a decade now.
He got a little smile. He got a little smile when I asked him that.
I think I saw that when I was in high school.
He was thinking, you jerk. Why did you say, I was just wondering because, last week we had such a good topic about, talking about the Lion King. I actually brought that up in the next podcast about how you were a Lion King fan.
It's great. Keep
so
hating.
I didn't know if you were allowed to watch things like
yes.
Oh, okay. So in the Book of Eli, when they eat human meat, they get the shakes.
Get the shakes.
Remember when they get into the house and they're sitting there and they're shaking and they're like, "We got to get out of here."
I don't know. I only saw it like once, maybe twice, so I don't recall.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
It's a good movie. For all of you out there looking for a good Thanksgiving movie, check out The Book of Eli. Anyway, so Bill Gates food, we're staying away from it. Chicken from, is that funny?
Yeah. I'm going to be watching football, but you're going to be watching Book of Eli.
A movie about cannibalism.
Let's talk about that because this is the Thanksgiving special.
Thanksgiving movie.
What is a good Thanksgiving movie?
I said a movie about cannibalism being the perfect Thanksgiving movie.
While your turkey's in the oven,
While your turkey's in the oven.
It's all about a good time. So Listen, what football games are playing on Thursday?
Well, the Cowboys always play every Thanksgiving.
Are you a big Cowboys fan?
No, but I have Cowboys in my lineup, my fantasy team. Okay, the Lions so you're always playing. I got Jahmyr Gibbs in my lineup. He needs to ball out. I got several pieces at play here.
Okay, so you're a fantasy football
some
guy.
Attention. Yeah, yep, very much.
So we got the Cowboys. I don't know that I care about watching the Cowboys. The Detroit Lions. I don't
believe the Seahawks are playing as well.
Now, I do know that the Seahawks are playing the 49ers.
Mm-hmm. That team down south.
The 49ers. The 49ers are going to smoke the Seahawks, by the way.
I don't know. If Geno plays, we got a chance. If Drew Lock plays, we're screwed. He's questionable last I saw.
I thought he was out. I thought I saw on Twitter or Instagram or somewhere that he was out.
Yeah, it's X these days. X marks the spot, apparently.
Yeah, I like that. X marks the spot. Okay, I was going to make a joke about that. But so football, honeybees, honey, all good things. You know what I love is the Hawaiian roll.
Ooh, Hawaiian rolls are good.
You know how I love my Hawaiian roll?
Warm?
I like it warm. I like a monumental amount of butter.
Okay.
Monumental amount of butter. And then I love...
On top? Or do you like open it up and put butter on the inside?
I like it in the middle.
Okay.
I like to call it a sandwich.
Just bread and butter?
Nope. I like honey in there. Because honey comes from bees, baby.
Let's go.
This is all about bees. Like, we are supposed to be talking about teaching me bees, and we got onto the Cowboys
we got somewhere,
and the Detroit Lions.
It's Thanksgiving, though.
It is Thanksgiving.
And I'm sure people are thankful to be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, this is an awesome
are gracious to listen to our tangents. Thank you for listening.
All right. Notable foods on pollination.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and read some of those?
I'm gonna say them as fast as I can, and then you don't get to look at your paper, and then you got to try to repeat them back.
Great.
This is like the high school test where you got to memorize all of the countries. Okay. Here are all of the notable foods that rely on pollination. So for all of you who are actually listening to this podcast so that we can talk about bees, here is the bee stuff. We are talking about pollination. These foods rely on it: apples, avocados, almonds, blueberries, cherries, chocolate, coffee, cranberries, grapes, peaches, pears, peppermint, pumpkin, raspberries, strawberries, tomatoes, vanilla, blackberries. Repeat that back.
You got some blackberries at the bottom. Apples, avocados, almonds, strawberries, raspberries. I don't know if you said vanilla, but it's on the list. Blueberries, chocolate, coffee. I don't know if I put it on there, but melons are affected by pollination.
All right, that's a bonus. Melons. I love melons.
And I don't know if you read it, but here's a big one, especially for Thanksgiving: pumpkins. Pumpkins are reliant on pollination.
Okay, what else?
I think that's all I remember from that list. I got to look at my paper.
Okay, folks, here is the list one more time: apples, avocados, almonds, blueberries, cherries, chocolate, coffee, cranberries, grapes, peaches, pears, peppermint, pumpkin, raspberries, strawberries, tomatoes, vanilla, blackberries, and as the bonus item, melons. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
That's probably like a C.
11 out of 18 means he got about 62%.
Oof, that's not a great grade.
That's a D.
But Ralph, can you go ahead and put up that
the bonus is
that thing on the screen?
Can you do this in Spanish?
No shot.
I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See? I can do everything that you got in Spanish.
Great job.
I like to think that I'm multilingual.
Well, I'm glad you think that.
Didn't I just prove it?
You proved something. I don't know what you proved, but you proved something.
Well, since you can't speak Spanish, I could have been speaking French.
I know that was Spanish.
No, you do?
Yeah.
How did you deduce that?
Well, I took 2 years in high school, but I don't remember much. So
you only went to high school for 2 years?
Something like that. For those who are watching, you might be able to see this on the screen. For those who are listening, It's a graphic that shows what foods are most reliant on pollination, and which are they still it's good for them, but maybe not quite as reliant. So there's several foods that don't need pollination. Cereals, some fruits and vegetables like bananas and pineapples. There's legumes that don't require that. Lots of fruits and veggies, though, do require being pollinated to some extent. Oranges, tomatoes, lemons, limes. Those are somewhat a good amount. Modest dependency. I mean, 10 to 40% reduction without it. Strawberries, gooseberries, figs. Things that have high dependency. Some of my favorites: apples, apricots, blueberries, cherries, mangoes, peaches, plums, pears, raspberries. So lots of fruit. And for Thanksgiving, I don't know about you listening, but for myself, my plate is a lot of carbs and a lot of, turkey, potatoes, bread. But you got to have the veggies. You got to throw in, green bean casserole or some Brussels sprouts, and maybe some fruit in your salad. But these fruits are going to be in your pies too. And so that wonderful dessert that you're going to be enjoying, that I look forward to every year, is reliant on pollination. So
I love strawberries.
You do?
Just want you to know that.
Well, that's good to know.
That's a pollinated. So how does pollination work? What is the science behind it? Do you know?
So I know a little bit, and I'm not going to pretend to say I'm like a botanist by any means. However, you can go on YouTube, and we'll drop a link in this video, in the podcast description to a couple videos. But essentially, it's the transfer of pollen from the anther, which is kind of like the seed of the flower, to the stigma, which is a tube within the flower. And so this seed gets transferred to this tube, and that tube and then drops it down, and there's reproduction. So that's like the plant side of it. The bee side of it is the bees actually go into these flowers, these plants, to get nectar. Nectar is a sugary source of food for the bees. And so the bees, they'll fly in there, they buzz in there, fly in there, and they inadvertently grab pollen on their bodies as they're trying to get the nectar. Now, pollen's also a source of food for them, but nectar is kind of what they're going for. It's their goal, rather, when they go into the flowers. And so that's where pollination really happens. Bees will take from one flower to another flower on the same plant, and that's where you get pollination on the same plant. You get cross-pollination when the bees go from that plant A to plant B. And they take pollen from plant A to the seeds and stigma of plant B. That's cross-pollination. So bees are pollinating all the times in our gardens, in our yards, here out on our property where we have a nursery down the street. We have lots of trees around here. We're going to be putting in a lot more flowers and things for the bees. And so they're going to pollinate pretty much any plant they possibly can. Not every bee pollinates every plant. It changes. Some bumblebees do that honeybees don't, and vice versa, etc.
Right.
But that is the simplified version of what pollination is and how it works.
It actually sounded pretty scientific. I'm just going to give you some props.
I'm not a scientist, but thank you very much.
I think you did a well-deserved job on that.
Thank you very much.
I don't even know if well-deserved makes sense in a sentence, but
it
sounded cool.
I appreciate it. So the bees they're really going for the nectar, and pollen is a.
Isn't it amazing how God
thing
made
that happens from that? It's crazy how it works. Like the connectivity of how pollination happens.
Like a bee just flies in,
gets the pollen all over their body, goes to the next flower, so that more flowers are made.
Like just wow, right?
Yeah.
Wow. How the world works.
And
now
so our food is reliant on it.
There's the truth is that what I heard is that like 90% of, and these facts are out there, you can check them. You're going to have different sources. They might vary 5% here or there, but 90% of the bees in North America stem from beekeepers, whether commercial or backyard beekeepers. So only 10%.
Only 10% are wild.
Only 10% of bees are wild. So, like, as you're thinking about being thankful, be thankful for your local beekeeper.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say this enough. Support your local beekeeper. You know, if you go to your local market or your local farmer's market and you buy that raw honey, support those guys selling the raw honey. Support those guys out there. You know, we own a bee farm, a bee business, Honey for Hope. Support us, but also support every one of them. You know what I mean? Buy as much honey from the local distributor as you can.
And honey's a great gift to give people.
Honey is a great gift to give
I don't know a person in my life who would turn down a jar of raw honey. Like, everybody would be like, "Oh, sweet!"
I just eat raw honey out of the
with your hands.
Jar.
He's like a bear.
I don't do the Pooh Bear thing, but
okay.
But is that a cartoon that you like too?
You know, when I was
Winnie
3. Yeah, when I was like 3, for sure.
Okay, we got the Lion King and
I don't
Winnie
still
the Pooh.
watch Winnie the Pooh. You know, or I would still watch the Lion King.
Oh, that's nice. You and your wife would hang out for date night, and you'd be like, "Hey, babe, let's throw on the King real quick."
It's an incredible movie.
You guys get up and sing along together?
We sing in the car to the soundtrack.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you don't put on a Disney hits every once in a while, what are you doing? It's enjoyable.
Disney is having huge problems.
In what way? Disney's a very large brand.
Disney is seriously struggling.
Like, financially?
Financially.
Well, I heard the new Marvel movie ain't doing the greatest at the box office.
The Marvel movie flopped.
Yeah.
They've had just a string of massive flops. I was actually reading an article about it, and the CEO that came in, I want to say he came in 2002, 2006. He came in, he slashed a bunch of jobs. You know, he cut a bunch of just staff that they needed to cut. They purchased Pixar to open.
Was this a Disney CEO or a Marvel CEO?
No, this is Disney,
okay,
umbrella. And I don't know that they had Marvel at that time.
I'm not sure.
They picked up Pixar to just really kind of take them to the next level, and then they stopped just mass production, and they started just producing, like, the goal was 12 movies a year because they had oversaturized the market. And then I was just reading this article, and it was saying how Disney Plus has been like this big failure, you know, from the fact of just not high level content, not well thought out content, not, you know, just kind of going in a direction like, you know, they had some good shows and then they kind of blew those shows up. Like season 1 of the Mighty Ducks was good. Ralph, you're a big TV person. Did you like season 1 of the Mighty Ducks?
I really liked season 1 of the Mighty Ducks.
But season 2,
I thought Emilio Estevez was great having him back.
He was awesome.
A lot of fun.
Season 2 kind of hit the turd button.
It hit the turd button.
It did, right? It did, right? And then
now I wish I had a sound effect machine back here.
Wish you had that button on your controller.
I wish you did too.
Maybe we can get that in the future.
What was it? You know what show I really enjoyed the first season was? Because I like looking at his face. John Stamos was in, you know, the basketball movie about the basketball coach.
Oh yeah, what was that one called?
That first season was awesome.
Really good.
And then just like season 2 was like
it's hard to make a show that's good for multiple seasons. You know, there's a lot of shows that have one good first season.
Even the Star Wars stuff, like this last season of Anshwan whatever the name of that thing was, like that sucked.
I don't know which one you're referring to. If it's the Mandalorian,
it's the girl with the white horns.
Oh no, Ahsoka. That was great.
I hated that.
Then you haven't watched the other Star Wars because it built on the lore.
I hated that show.
Well,
I thought that show
was
like.
It's incredible. So
that
you're one of the few.
That show was like, actually, I Googled it and online it says it was a flop.
No. The creator of it was just given entire control of Star Wars. So it's a good day to be a Star Wars fan.
Here's another movie that sucked for Star Wars. The Han Solo movie.
Mediocre.
That was bad. You know what show was awesome? Was Obi-Wan.
Also mediocre.
I liked Obi-Wan.
I thought Obi-Wan was awesome. You know what was I thought was awesome was The Mandalorian.
All right, this is going to tell me a lot about you. And the audience is going to tell us a lot about Dave right now. Give me your top 3 Star Wars movies.
Okay, I do not rank anything in my life around Star Wars. Okay,
this is a better question for his brother.
I'm gonna make this really, really clear.
Listen up, guys.
I think of Star Wars as one step above cartoons. If I could say politically incorrect words on this show about Star Wars, you would hear them out of my mouth. Now, I watch Star Wars because of the fact that it's incredible pop culture and it's there. So you have asked me a question and I will answer.
Okay.
My number 1 favorite movie of all time in Star Wars is Return of the freaking Jedi. That's the one I love.
That's okay. Yeah.
And everything else below that is, I might want to stab myself in the eyeball if I had to watch it. Minus Rogue One.
Rogue One's very good.
I loved Rogue One.
It's outstanding. It is outstanding.
Isn't that an outstanding movie?
Star Wars movie Disney made. And it was the one that wasn't a part of the main.
I loved Rogue One. Okay, so we got
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, and then we got Rogue One. Now, I'm going to need some help as I pick number 3 because you're going to have to tell me your favorite movies or list the Star Wars movies so that I know which ones to pull from.
I can give you my top 3 right here.
What are your top 3?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got some nostalgia attached to it, but Anakin's turn is incredible.
Revenge of the
Empire
Sith.
Strikes Back and Rogue One. Top 3.
Empire Strikes Back. Okay.
Empire Strikes Back's
Empire Strikes Back would be like my last favorite.
Are you serious?
But Rogue One. Yes, I hate that movie. It's freaking boring.
That's where we find out Luke is Darth Vader's Luke's father. It's where they fight. Luke loses a hand. There's the whole Hoth battle.
I am not thankful for you anymore.
Wow.
This is a Thanksgiving special.
We've learned a lot here today, guys. We have learned so much about Dave.
Ralph, give me your top 3 Star Wars movies.
I'm afraid to say it. Empire Strikes Back.
Let's go.
Rogue One.
Let's go.
And the original Star Wars.
Okay, I respect it. If you watch it now.
Okay, now give me...
But Dave's opinion is not wrong because it's his opinion.
That's true.
Now give me all of the Star Wars movies in order so that I can pick my third one. Please help me out here.
Star Wars A New Hope. Star Wars
okay.
Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. Then you have the prequels. The Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones. Revenge of the Sith. Then you have the new ones. The Force Awakens.
Bad.
The Last Jedi.
Bad.
And The Rise of Skywalker.
Definitely bad. And mixed in there,
you got Rogue One, Han Solo.
That's it so far.
That is it in terms of movies.
Okay, now I am going to totally blow your freaking mind right here because
If you pick one of the new 3, I am going to be furious.
Star Wars movie of all time is, I'm going to say my favorite movie is Return of the Jedi. How can you not love Luke popping out of the thing, slaying Jabba the Hutt, almost getting with his sister in this incestual battle, but then turning him over to Han Solo. Han Solo's getting hooked up. Anakin, they all come back together. You know, you got the little green guy. What's his name?
Yoda?
You got Yoda. He's all up in this.
He just called them a little green guy, guys.
And
wow.
And so, but listen, this is going to blow your mind because I'm not going to pick a movie as my third favorite Star Wars movie. I'm going to add a show to my third favorite Star Wars thing.
Totally fair.
And I'm going to say that my third favorite, maybe it could even go to my first favorite Star Wars thing, is Bad Batch.
Bad Batch is
which is a cartoon.
Bad.
It is.
It is a cartoon, but it is amazing.
Yeah, he just hated on cartoons hard last time.
Note to Dave's dad. It's not a cartoon.
Like I actually,
it's good though. It's good though.
Really love Bad Batch.
Oh, the team is so fun.
It's not as good as the Clone Wars show, but there's a lot more to the Clone Wars show.
Let me tell you about the Clone Wars show.
Okay, because the last 3 seasons of that is amazing.
If you go on Disney Plus, it's like season 7. How do you get to season 1? Where do you find season 1?
You got to just click on it and scroll back. Like there should be a drop-down menu that allows you to go to the seasons.
Do you think that the Clone Wars cartoon is better than the? Yeah, we've tried watching it, and
the first season,
it's just kind of
too childish, it grows into itself. It didn't really want to. It didn't know
like
the direction it wanted to go.
Kind of like this B podcast that went strangely Star Wars.
You know,
okay. Listen, now I want to let you know,
back a little bit
for
here.
all the Star Wars lovers out there.
Yep.
I too love Star Wars. But here's what I believe about Star Wars. I do like the first Star Wars movie. Okay. The one with Luke in the white dress. I love that one.
Yep.
And I hated Empire Strikes Back. Will always hate Empire Strikes Back.
That's
will always be my
fascinating.
least favorite movie. I liked Return of the Jedi. I love that movie because it's action. But here's what I think happened. Star Wars became like this cool. It was like this cool, like cult type thing that was like Chewbacca and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. It's just like cool, right? And then we came out with these prequel movies, and we made it like started to make it like this. I don't know, like it changed. It became like, you know, commercialized. It became commercialized.
Yeah. Capitalism, you know?
And then we came out with these new movies, which I saw in the theater, and they were just kind of like...
not good.
They were just not my fave, you know? And I didn't like what they did with Luke Skywalker. I feel like they killed Luke Skywalker, even though they didn't kill him. They just made him into this angry midget man who climbs mountains and deals with these funny little animals on the sides of the hills. And so... I just felt like that completely fell off the marker, and it got away from what Star Wars was originally all about.
Okay.
Selling toys for Hasbro.
Is that what it was originally all about?
Ralph?
Actually, Kenner. I'm sorry. It was Kenner who first had the Star Wars IP.
Was it? But was that what the first Star Wars was all about?
Actually, no. The whole idea of merchandising and everything like that came from George Lucas. That would be a good conversation for your other podcast, The
Business
Entrepreneurial Journey.
And you know what? There's two movies that you didn't mention in this thing that I actually love. What about the like Revenge of the Ewoks movies? And
that's not canon.
What about the movie where
that's
like they crashed a plane on the thing and they got the little girl and they got the like the Luke Skywalker type character and they're going through the
desert
woods with the Ewoks and
those were the TV movies. They came out when I was a kid. Yeah,
I loved those movies. And they go in there and they fight the big thing, you know, and they gotta do all that. You know what I'm talking about?
For anyone who's just listening, there's a lot of hand movements going on with.
Well, I don't know the names of the animals. I'm not.
I don't know either.
You know, like
Ralph, could you like?
I guess I'm not a big
Google
Star Wars fan.
What's the highest rated Star Wars movie, just so we know what that is?
It's neck and neck with Empire and Rogue One in terms of highest rated.
Okay,
I have to look at box office, but in terms of like what critics,
what is it that people like about Empire Strikes Back? This was such a boring movie.
Darth Vader is what we like about Empire Strikes Back.
What about Darth Vader?
Everything. His character development to the next level.
I don't understand that.
All right, let's get back to pollination here.
That makes no sense to me, Ralph. I need an expert opinion here.
I think some of it is that culmination, that turning point of a hero story where things have all gone bad. Like Luke loses his hand, finds out that the most evil villain is his father, and the movie ends on a big downer. That he's in a medical frigate, and
that's right. We don't know what's going to happen next.
Han Solo is in carbonite, and
you
don't know what's going to happen. It's like a giant cliffhanger, and so some people really love that strife, the fact that it didn't get wrapped up in a nice little bow. Our heroes are kind of spread out to the wind. This might be
an unpopular opinion. I don't know, but I like it when the heroes lose.
As long as they eventually win.
They probably will. They're the hero. Yeah. But I like it when they lose. Stop winning all the time. Not realistic. You don't win every time in life.
I am a hopeless romantic. I want to see love.
So you wanted Luke and Leia to
and kisses. I did not want to see ancestral beings get together. I'm fine. I'm perfectly happy with Han and Leia hooking up. There's no problem with that. But I kind of feel like I'm Ernest Shackleton right now.
Oh wow!
And I kind of feel like, you know, do you know who Ernest Shackleton is?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay. Well, you need to do a little research here.
Okay. All right.
Ernest Shackleton was an explorer who got stuck in the ice. And his ships got stuck in the ice. And and at one point they had to get off of the ship, and the ship gets crushed by the icebergs, and the men are stranded.
That's pretty bad.
On these icebergs, and they have to get back to land. I think it took 2 years for them.
They survived for 2 years?
Every single person survived.
Wow.
Now, Ernest Shackleton had to do two things. He had to keep the positive people on one side, and he had to manage the negative people. And I feel like every single person who votes for Empire Strikes Back is now a negative person, and they need special care and special attention, and they need to be babied a little bit. And then the positive people are always going to be positive. They're always going to be happy. They're always going to be in a good mood, and they love Return of the Jedi because it's all about winning and love and the good guys coming through. Therefore, I am on the positive side of the ship, and you are now on the negative side of the ship, and that's how I am relating to Ernest Shackleton. I am happy to listen to your thoughts and commentary on this particular statement that I've made about both of you specifically, and we can go from there.
Scott, I have serious concerns about our next employee performance review.
Thanks for sharing, Dave.
We're not, this is not employee related. This is just...
This is it.
This is Star Wars. I mean, do you feel like you're more negative in reality? I mean, you said that
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, you think you're more positive.
Absolutely.
I think Ralph's a pretty positive guy.
The kind of the controversy and the downer and the losing of the hand and
not the controversy. I think it's seeing someone, because I think that's what's great about Return of the Jedi, right? Is an Empire, Luke is down. He's down for the count. But he's going to come back. You knew the next movie was coming.
Return's not good without Empire Strikes Back.
That's true. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back makes Return of the Jedi that much better because Luke comes back, he redeems his father.
But if Return of the Jedi doesn't happen, then Empire Strikes Back is like a horrible movie too.
No, it just leaves it open-ended.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's horrible.
No,
it just leaves it open. We're going to disagree on that.
I would actually
but what we don't disagree at is bee pollination is very important.
You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the tip for any of you having a podcast. Do not start talking about freaking Star Wars because it'll overtake the entire podcast. Listen, we have probably
gone here
made some haters here today on my views on. Listen, I want to say for everybody out there that loves Star Wars, I love you and I love Star Wars. For everybody who doesn't like Star Wars, I also love you and support you, and I do watch the Star Wars movies, so I'm kind of an hypocrite in this whole thing.
So
my hypocrisy knows no limits when it comes to Star Wars. I'll just end with that.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Okay. We are way over time on this call. It was a lot of fun. Ralph does not feel like he's negative. He feels like he's a positive person. And if he was on the Ernest Shackleton ship, you would be on the positive side. Right, Ralph?
I would, yes.
Okay.
I want to wrap up with a thought here on the pollination.
What ship would you be on? The negative side?
I'm in the middle. Depends on the day.
Okay.
Depends on the day.
Definitely on the negative side. We're going to keep our
man. So as for Thanksgiving and the holidays, and being thankful and thinking of what we're grateful for and such, as Dave said, support your local beekeepers. Think of the bees. Maybe you want to start your own small garden that helps the pollination process, and you might see outcomes of that. You might not. But not only do bees directly pollinate the foods that we listed, the berries, the almonds and coffee and things. Think of like your dairy products. Your cows eat alfalfa and grass and different things that are pollinated by bees. Think about the fact that a wild deer or something is going to be eating plants that are pollinated by bees, and that deer could become deer meat for your stew. I had some venison stew the other day with my brother-in-law. It was very good. A carnivore is going to eat that deer. It's this entire circle of the ecosystem that really comes back to pollination. Like if pollination doesn't happen, if it's not a large thing, then a lot of the food that we know of and the ecosystem as we know it is going to definitely change, and it's going to be worse off for it without pollination. So as you think about pollination, it's not just the food that's on your table or in your pie or fruits that you're enjoying later on, but it is actually the entire ecosystem that needs bees to be pollinators. And as Dave said, 90% of North American bees are commercial or backyard beekeepers. There's not a lot of wild bees. And so it's on beekeepers to take pollination seriously. And those of you who are not beekeepers to support it, support the beekeepers in their work.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Support the pollinators. And listen, I want to end this with, I'm thankful for you, Ralph, and all the hard work that you do. So
thank you, Dave.
You are a moment of thankfulness. You're welcome.
Ralph, you're great.
I'm thankful for you, Scott, the beekeeper, even though you can be slightly negative, and that you are Ernest Shackleton's negative side of the boat. I'm also thankful for Star Wars, and I feel like we may watch a Star Wars movie tomorrow just because we talked about it so much. And I'm thankful for that. You're a good sport on the whole teasing of the ducks, because
there's no teasing. We're great.
I don't really care either way who wins college football. I'm just going to have a little bit of honesty there. I'm thankful for bees. I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for God's blessing and making bees such amazing creatures. I'm thankful for bees. I'm thankful for having fun. And I just love what we do here on this podcast because it's a lot of fun. We teach, we laugh, we have fun, and we talk about some pop culture stuff, which is kind of exciting. Any final thoughts from you guys as we close this out?
Well, I was just thinking, without bees, we wouldn't survive.
Right.
If we as humans didn't survive, George Lucas would have never survived.
He would have never made Star Wars.
There would be no Star Wars. So without bees, there'd be no Star Wars.
Wow.
Good and bad Star Wars.
All right, you have just changed a generation, Ralph. I don't know where this podcast is going.
All you Star Wars fans, you need to support your bees.
Support your local beekeeper. Man. This is awesome. What are your final thoughts?
Pick yourself up some honey, guys. Enjoy the fruits, the labors of the bees. Enjoy it. Put it on
that's right.
your toast or whatever you want.
Give out some money. Support your local beekeeper.
Enjoy the holidays.
Listen, we're back next Thursday. Okay, we're here every Thursday, even on Thanksgiving.
That's not true.
Yes, we are.
It's released on Thanksgiving.
Goes live every single Thursday.
But I'm not going to be in this building.
We are never going to miss a podcast.
Well, I'm not going to be in the building.
We are never going to miss a podcast. We will never miss a podcast. Just for all of you faithful listeners out there, you can count on us. We are reliable. We are trustworthy.
We're here.
We appreciate your time. But listen, if you like this, give us a like, give us a share, follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. Check out my website, davewescott.com. Have a great time. Follow Honey for Hope. Check us out.
That's right.
And just enjoy your Thanksgiving and have a great holiday. We'll see you next Thursday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.